Hello, everyone. Welcome to Miami Dade College North Campus. We are delighted to have all of you guys here for our Journalism Speaker Series. This year we have a great program scheduled for you, and we're kicking it off with an alum, Belkys Nerey, who we're proud to have here on our campus, an alum of North Campus. That means a lot to us. A couple of things. If you have cell phones, please turn them off or put them on vibrate. If you have to step away from the room, please make sure that you do it quietly. And I want to welcome two high schools here to our campus. Westland, Hialeah Senior High, you're here. And Law Enforcement Officers Memorial High School, you're here as well, right? We're privileged to have both of you guys here today to listen to Mrs. Nerey. Our speaker series was something we started about 4 years ago to give our students and the community an opportunity to meet with folks, distinguished journalists like Mrs. Nerey. And we've been happy to have some very good guests. And this year we're going to have some really good ones. We have Damon Winter from the New York Times. We have a TV reporter, Joe Vasquez from San Francisco. And we obviously have some local folks like Jay Ducassi, who's the Metro editor, and Jackie Charles, who covers Haiti for the Miami Herald. So with that said, I'm going to pass the mic over to Monique Madden, who's the editor-in-chief of The Reporter, the student newspaper on campus. And if any of you guys are interested in the paper, definitely let me know or speak to Monique afterward, and we'd be more than happy to have you. Enjoy the show, and here's Monique.
Hey, guys. Hey. Well, aside from being an alum from North Campus, you'll probably recognize her for being on the evening newscasts every night. You'll probably recognize her for being fun, loving, and having a great personality on air. Belkys, you're born in Havana, Cuba. She was raised in Miami and in Long Island. And she started her career as a reporter for a cable station here in South Florida. Most people knew her as a one-man band. Basically, she shot her own videos, edited them, and we all know how hard that can be for those who know, all the stuff within editing and film and TV production. She took off her career. She went to Connecticut. She worked for WTNH 8, which is the ABC affiliate in New Haven, and it wasn't long before she was covering major news stories. Because she knows Spanish, she was invincible and highly competitive with those in the field. However, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'll let you get to the good stuff with Belkys herself. Everyone, Belkys Nerey.
Thanks, Mom. You're so cute. I don't know about the invincible part, but thank you. I'm not Wonder Woman. Hi, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Is everybody awake? Now you know what I really look like. I don't have my TV face on. This is my morning. We're talking to the students at Miami Dade College face. And students from high school as well. Good for you for being here and knowing the high school students. Is this something you're interested in? Journalism, want to do write or TV, stuff like that? Well, Monique gave you my sad story. I've been doing this now, gosh, I started in 1992, I want to say. And I graduated from this college, this campus. I was a North Campus student. I grew up in Hialeah, so this was my place. When I was coming through Miami-Dade College, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I took a lot of different classes and got my feet wet and tried different things. So this is a great place to try to figure out what path it is that you want to take. Eventually, while I was here, I took a radio class one time, and I worked at the radio station that they used to have here back in the Stone Age when I came here. And that's what led me to journalism. I really liked doing radio. I liked doing, I did the newscasts on the radio. I was a DJ and all that kind of stuff, and I really enjoyed it. And that's what made me decide that this is what I wanted to do. I always had an interest in news. I always read the newspaper growing up. I always watched the news on TV as a kid. And I think that's the basis for wanting to be a journalist. You kind of want to know, you have an inquiring minds type personality. You're inquisitive. You always ask people questions. You're genuinely curious about the world and life and people and everything that's going on around you. So I took a radio class. I really enjoyed it. I liked it, and I stuck with it. And from here, after I graduated from Dade, I went to FIU. And that's when I studied broadcast journalism and expanded my knowledge a little and took TV production and TV classes and TV writing and all of that. And that's when I really knew that.
Weren't the buildings made of wood?
Yeah, well, you were here too. You were like pushing. Didn't you discover the wheel, caveman?
Started in film.
In other words, we've been doing this a very long time. Tom Carper, he works with me in Channel 7. Everybody say hi to Tom. He does the other end of it, because it's not just about the faces you see on TV. If you're thinking about television production, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that it takes to get the news on every day. We got to shoot it, we've got to edit it, we've got to write it. It's a lot of different facets of this industry that it takes a village to build a newscast. So I went to FIU, graduated from there. Did the one-man band thing, as Monique mentioned, which basically I shot my own video, edited my own stuff, wrote my own stories, and I did that for 2 years at a cable station here in Hialeah. From there, I went to Connecticut, WTNH. It was the ABC affiliate, which was great because it was a real TV station, live shots, live trucks, it was the real deal. And then from there, I came back home to Channel 7. I got hired as a general assignment news reporter, which was just reporting on the street every day, something different. One day you might be covering a new, baby dolphin that's born at this aquarium, and the next day you'll be at some rally for some, Haitian issue or Cuban exile issue or tax cut issue or a budget cut for school funding or something like that. And the day after that, you might be at a school because a kid got meningitis and it's a big outbreak, and so every day something different as a street reporter, which is what is awesome about it. It never gets boring, And then from there, they asked me if I wanted to host Deco Drive, which is the entertainment show, and that was great because it was a different thing from what I had been doing, which was all serious news and, crime and all that kind of stuff for so long. And I hosted Deco for about 6 years. And now I sit at the big kids table with Craig Stevens every night at 5, 6, 10, and 11 as the main anchor for the newscast itself. And I've been doing that for about, I don't know, I lose track. 7, 8, 10, about 8 years. Total, I've been at Channel 7 16 years, which is unheard of in my business because I made 3 stops to get to where I am. And I'm fortunate enough to be the main anchor in the city where I grew up. My parents are here, my family's here, cousins, uncles, aunts, friends from middle school, high school. So it's truly a blessing, but it's really not the norm, because this business is very transient. And if this is something that you want to get into, you should know today, take it from Belkys Nerey, you're in high school, you're going to go to college, you're going to graduate with whatever your degree is, and it's not going to be, hey, I graduated from University X in broadcast journalism, and I want to be on the air as a TV reporter or an anchor or this or that or the other in Miami. Miami's a very large market. I think it's number 16 in the country. More than likely, you're going to move away. You're going to have to start off in a city that you've probably never heard of. Missoula, Montana, Macon, Georgia, You're going to be like, what am I doing here? It's going to be cold. The weather's going to be something you're not used to. But then from there, you hone your skills, you learn, you get better, you're more confident. Apply for the next job in a better city. And from there, you keep getting better and better and better till you finally make it to that major market. So for those of you that think that it's glamorous and fabulous and easy and it's sit down and read the teleprompter and surprise, I'm here to let you know the real deal. I'm not saying it doesn't have its glamour and its fabulosity and everything else, because there are fantastic parts to it. But I find that a lot of kids, more and more these days, especially with reality TV, You think you're gonna like get on TV and be a star, be, you know, Lauren from the Hills or Snooki or whatever it is, and then hey, you know, get paid $20,000 to show up at a nightclub and stand in front of the step and repeat and take a picture, you know? If that's what you want to do, awesome, more power to you. Sign up for a reality show. If you want to do the news, you need to know it's a lot of hard work. Very gratifying. It can be very rewarding. It is. I'm proof of that. And all the people that I work with are proof of that. But you need to decide and know that it's not all glamour and games, and it's stepping stones, you know? And again, I'm fortunate enough that I made it back to Miami, which is where I'm from. But none of the people that I work with are from Miami. Craig is from Massachusetts. That's where he grew up. That's where his family is, you know. Lynn Martinez is from St. Louis. That's where her parents are, her family. Louis Aguirre's from here. But Louis is another one that did a lot of things and came back. He worked at Fox News in New York. He did, I think it was called American Journal. I don't remember the name of the show, but it's off the air. But Louis lived in New York many years and then came back to Miami. So, you know, there are exceptions to the rule, but it's not the norm. Most people are usually, you know, especially if you live, you know, Miami's a big city. It's a major market. A lot of people in TV would love to work in Miami. We have great weather. We have a nice city. It's not boring. There's fun stuff to do all the time. So anybody in my industry would love to be living in a city like Miami to live and work, because, you know, we live in a great town. But I think I don't like to talk a lot at these things because, you know, you guys can read my bio and learn all about me, but I know that probably you have lots of questions more than anything else, so I like to just kind of open it up now and let you guys ask questions. So unless I've cleared everything up for you, in which case, okay, thank you very much for coming. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Don't forget to watch American Idol as I trip. That was glamorous. See how glamorous that was right there? So I don't know. Does anybody have any questions for me? What you know, other aspects? Right here.
Is there one particular story that you reported on that sticks with you?
Wow. I was just telling Monique, I have Newsheimers. Well, I like to call it Newsheimers. There's so much information in my head every day on a daily basis. I do 4 newscasts a day plus a webcast. So there's so much in here that I purge. And I'll get home and my boyfriend will say to me, so what was on the news today? What happened today? And I'll be like, hold on, give me a minute. Wait. Oh, right, yeah. You know, because there's a lot going on in here. So that's a really interesting question. Because if you keep it all inside, it makes you crazy. But there is one story in particular that comes to my head. The first thing that popped into my head when you said that. Also, doing what we do, sitting in those 2 chairs night after night after night after night, you tend to hear the same things a lot, unfortunately. But there's one story that came to mind. It was a 911 call from a little boy who was like between 7 and 9, I can't remember now the exact age, was a local story. And he called 911 because his father shot his mother and then shot himself. And it was just really, really hard to listen to. Because here's this little kid that's just, you know, and you hear it with the operator, and he's calm, but he's confused. It was just really, I mean, even just telling you now, it's horrible. So, yeah, certain things, you know, you're human. You know, we sit up there and we deliver the news every day, and a lot of people also ask me, how is it that you can't, you know, how do you do that every day and like you're not affected? You know, because we do. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the news is bad news. It's just a fact. And then my answer to that is always like, you know, it's kind of like being a hospice nurse, that you're in hospice and you know that your 12 patients are going to die because That's what hospice nursing is. So you just do the best you can to keep them comfortable, but you can't get too attached, because if not, you know, I'd be in the mental ward at Jackson. Everyone that does what we do would be in the mental ward at Jackson. You know, it's just you're delivering the news, you're letting people know what's happening in their community, but you got to try to keep some distance, because if not, I mean, I'd get off the set every day. Oh my God, and then you know, what are we gonna do about school budget cuts? And you know, you make yourself crazy. So, but that's the one story that does come to mind on a local level. And you know, I've done big stories that have been unforgettable. I was just in London to cover the royal wedding. That was like off the charts. You know, amazing experience. I worked like a dog. It was like 21-hour days for like a week because of the time change, doing so many, I mean, it was insanity. But if I had to do it again, I would, because that's, you know, it's like that TV commercial, priceless. You know, who does that? So, did I answer your question? I hope so. You had a question. Oh, that's a good question. What would it be? I might be a chef. I love cooking and the culinary arts and that kind of stuff. I wish I had more time for it. I'd own a restaurant. But again, I think I glamorize it, because I think that owning a restaurant may be like what you guys think about TV, because you don't do it. I think that owning a restaurant would be like I'd be the hostess. Oh, hey, hi, welcome. How many? Oh, 3, right this way. And just, you know, work the room all night and be all chatty with the people. But, you know, I know people who own restaurants, and I know many chefs, and it is a grind. I mean, they're the first ones in the restaurant at 8 in the morning ordering the food, and the last one's out at 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning after everything's got to be scrubbed down and cleaned for the health department and all that. So I think I glamorize it a little, but I like that. Or I'd be an actress, because I love drama. But anyway, yeah, that's probably what I'd do. Question? Another question? Oh, in the back?
If you like, do you guys get any like downtime? If so, how does that work?
Okay, we each have schedules. My schedule and Craig's schedule, and people on the night team. If you watch the news, you'll know what the night team is. We come in at 3-ish. And example, myself and Craig Stevens, my TV husband, we're on at 5, 6, that's what we call each other. 5, 6, 10, and 11 are our newscasts. But the news goes on the air at 4, and it's not done until 7. So sometimes we'll walk in and they'll say, Belkys, we need you to do this story at 4. You know, the stock market is crashing. You know, the Dow Jones is down 600 points, and you're our lead. So I'll have to walk in, get my makeup done. Yes, ladies, there is a makeup artist. That's one of the glamorous things. Get my makeup done, read up on it, and be ready at 4 o'clock. And not anchor that newscast, but, you know, we participate in that newscast. And then we always have stuff that we have to voice over for our shows, for the 5 and the 6. And again, the same thing may be, we have you doing a story in the 5:30 newscast, which again, Craig and I don't anchor that, but we might participate in it. And they'll hand us a script. Somebody else already wrote it. Hand us a script about, you know, I don't know, the stuff going on today at the United Nations with President Obama and the Palestinians and all that. They might hand us a script about that. We'll have to go voice it over and then give it to the editors, and they'll put that story together. So we get in at 3, depending upon if we're doing anything prior to our own show. We read our show, we get dressed. Well, the girls change at work. Craig walks in already dressed. We get makeup, some do hair. I don't have that problem. Go over our scripts. There's always emails and things that people, you know, in addition to doing the newscast, I do 2 segments that are my segments called Bite with Belkys and Style File. So people are always sending me emails about, oh, you know, I have this restaurant. Can you do a bite with Belkys here? Or, hey, there's this really cool place. It's a boutique that opened. Can you do a style file? You know, things of that nature. And then before you know it, it's news time. It's 5 o'clock. It's show time. We'll do our newscast. Come back out. If we're in the 5:30, we'll do whatever we need to do for 5:30. Sometimes you're sitting there and a producer will say, hey, Belkys, we need you to do breaking news. There's been a cop shot in Miami Gardens. Boom. Get handed a piece of paper, stand, put in a microphone, and you literally, sometimes it's like 30 seconds and you're on. And it's like, okay, what's the info? Blah, 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 boom. And just, you know, those things aren't written. That's ad-libbed. You just go with it. And then 6 o'clock, we do our newscast, and there's another newscast, 6:30 to 7. And then at 7 o'clock, Craig and I get a dinner break. And we'll leave the building and then come back. And then we're on the air again at 10. New scripts to read, because then we do 10 to 11. And then we go 11 to 11:30. And then we're done. And then do it again the next day. Another question. I didn't answer that one well enough for you. Okay. Tell me.
Do you guys also have like any like little rivalries between other newscasts?
Other newscasts? You know what? This is gonna sound really corny, because it is. But you guys know I'm not corny. Maybe a little cheesy, but not corny. We genuinely, we are a family. We get along splendidly. I mean, to be in this highly competitive business, it's unheard of to have a newsroom like ours. Tom Carper can attest to this. He works with us. He's been in that building longer than me. He helped build it, actually. And seriously, I mean, as the anchor teams go, and especially the women, like Lynn Martinez and myself, thick as thieves, we're super tight. Craig and I always say that he brings out the best in me, and I bring out the best in him. And everyone is we all just get along really well. And there's some newsrooms that the anchors sit in their chair and don't look at each other and don't talk to each other. And it's misery. You know, there's some newsrooms where the anchors are like the superstars and don't talk to the writers, don't look at the writers. You know, we are not like that at all. At all. So, you know, it just depends on what you get. But anchoring with somebody, it's like dating, you know? You sit there and you either have chemistry or you don't. Fortunately for Craig and I, you know, we have really good chemistry. And you know what's the most important thing is? I know that he always has my back. And he knows that I always have his back. We don't let each other sink. Some people in some markets, I don't know, I'm not saying in this one, but in other places, somebody will get stuck on something and the other anchor won't jump in to make it look okay on TV. They just sit there and be like, You know, we're not like that. So it sounds corny, but I swear it's true. Oh, other channels? I mean, listen, first of all, I never go anywhere or do anything out on the street except Bite with Belkys and Style File, and that's not competitive because it's all fun and games. But as a street reporter, you know, when I was on the mean streets for many years, you know, when you're out there, it's competitive, but it depends on the individual. I mean, I was competitive in terms of there's a story and there's a victim. Let's just say some little kid got run over by a car and he died. Bad story, but it happens. It's on the news all the time. And we need a picture of that 10-year-old kid. And, you know, if I get the picture, I'm not going to tell you, oh, hey, listen, the mom is right over there at the Sedanos, and, you know, she's got a picture in her wallet. Just ask her. She'll give it to you. We're not going to do that because we do strive for, you know, some exclusivity. With, you know, we want to give you something different. But I was also the kind of person that if I knew that I had it, Channel 10 had it, Channel 4 had it, and the reporter from Channel 6 didn't have it, and everybody else had it, What's the big deal? I'd be like, hey, did you get the picture? Here you go. So it depends on the individual. But obviously, we always want to do it best. We always want to get it on the air first. And when there's breaking news in that newsroom, you know, when something big happens, it's like a well-oiled machine, what goes down in there. And you can feel it in the room, the adrenaline. Like, this person is calling to get a reporter out, a truck out, get a live shot, get an anchor out. You know, it's like the way it works is like boom, 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 boom. Everybody knows what their role is, and everybody knows what they need to do when it's time to make those donuts.
By and large, in the field, people do get along between stations. Like, we're all at the same stories. A lot of us work the same shifts, so we'll all show up. This morning I was at a double shooting. Channel 4 was there, 6 was there, 10 was there. You know, well, a lot of times we see each other outside of work. We are competitive when we're working, but it's not like what you would see in the movies where like people are doing the nasty on the
Right.
That doesn't happen because you got to deal with that guy the next week. So.
But if you have something that, an element in a story that nobody else has, that's the way the cookie crumbles, you know? And we all get it. We all get it.
Did you ever like stand in a hurricane before?
I have, yes. It's not pleasant. No. Not at all. It's wet, it's gross, it's smelly. It's a little scary. He's been in more hurricanes than me. And you have that gear that you can't get wet. But let's not talk about that. We're still in hurricane season. I don't want to give that. I'm not putting that out there. I have stood in hurricanes before, but I don't do it anymore. Now I'm at the desk, nice and dry, pretty. Here.
Have you ever covered a story that poses danger?
That what?
That poses danger towards you?
That's like dangerous? Huh. Just about every day. I mean, we go into neighborhoods in Miami that most people would never dream of stepping into. I mean, people will curse at you, you know, get that blue camera out of my face. You know, it's, people can get aggressive. And, you know, Carmel Cafaro is a great example of that. You know, she goes after people. And by that I mean people doing illegal things, people that are, you know, that she uncovers some kind of scam, and she'll be like, hey, I need to talk to you. And, you know, they'll slam doors in her face. But she's doing what she needs to do because whoever that scammer is doing our community an injustice, and Carmel is exposing them. So, you know, when that happens, when they blow your scam, you're pissed off, and the last thing you want is a reporter and a TV camera in your face, and people can get aggressive and ugly and nasty. For me personally, danger, I've never felt. That's the other thing, though. I mean, we also, when we're in the field, as a team, reporter and photog, you know, if we call and say, listen, this was way too scary and we're out of here, they're respectful of that because ultimately it's your decision to cover the story or not. I mean, but let's face it, we're not in Afghanistan, you know, commando on the ground and, you know, worried about landmines, but it can get dangerous. It definitely can.
Have you ever been in a fight?
With my mother and my boyfriend, but no, like a fist fight? Oh, you are watching way too much Bravo, okay? You need to stop. This is not the Real Housewives. No. Have you ever been in a fight, Tom?
When you go into somebody else's neighborhood, you just, or wherever you are, is to be respectful.
Yeah.
You don't go in there to be judgmental or whatever. You go in there for a purpose. You move like you have a purpose. People come up, they may be very angry. You treat them respectfully, and 90% of the time they treat you respectfully. If it starts getting nasty, then you need to start planning an exit strategy.
Because remember, you're walking into these neighborhoods under the worst of circumstances. Someone's been killed, someone's pissed off. You know, it's not a birthday party.
what Monique said, you've done production as well. What side do you prefer? The production side where you're making your own things, you're editing your own things, or the side of being in front of the camera?
Oh gosh, no, in front of the camera. No, but you know, when I value that I did all of that when I was a one-man band, because it made me a better reporter, because and even now an anchor, I mean, I know what it takes for him to do his job. I know what he needs to put together a well-edited story down the road. So if he's telling me I need a couple more minutes for a couple of more shots, I get it. When you have an appreciation for what everybody else does, it makes you better at your job. But no, if I wanted to do production, I would have done that, but that's not my thing.
Have you ever done in-studio production or just in the field?
No, only in the field. Obviously we have the guys that do the cameras, and now we have RoboCams. Now all that is like that in studio. Is that what you mean by in studio production? We're done with that. We have like a booth in the studio that's about this size, with stuff all the way around it, and all the cameras are They're robotic. They're manned by one person here. We have a floor manager that gives us the cues and whatnot. And then there's a couple of people inside the newsroom that do the jib cam. But I think that's it. And obviously we have up in the control room a director, a technical director, the audio person, the person that types in everything you see. You know, it'll say Alex Rivera, MDC student. You know, somebody types in every single thing you see in the newscast, all those names, when the story starts with Pinecrest, somebody typed that in. So we have all of that, but more and more, with high definition television and all that stuff, those in-studio people, they're done. We don't have any.
I think she's sort of understating a little something here, though, when she said, oh, I used to be a one-man band. What you don't realize is she used to stand shoulder to shoulder with us. When this is all I do is take pictures, and she used to take the same pictures I did, go in the same situations all by herself, and that's a little bit of an anomaly. Not all the reporters have gone out there and done exactly the stuff that she's done, but she's done it to the skill level where if she wanted to become anonymous and go to Chicago or something, she could go there and be a professional photographer because she has attained that skill level, and that's something you don't see very often. And also editing. I've been really busy, run back to the live truck where we have little edit bays and thrown her tapes, and she's edited her own stuff while I'm out gathering more stuff. So, she's being a little bit modest when she goes, oh yeah, I used to one-man band, but she's a little bit.
I am Wonder Woman, yay! Yeah, you were gonna ask a question.
I don't know whether they've given me a microphone, but I was going to ask, starting your career, did you find any obstacles as a female in your industry? And have you ever at any point experienced any discrimination in your early years, especially in a male-driven industry?
Not at all. I think that that's very kind of 70s. TV today, it's representative of the community that you live in. And, male, female, we each have the same amount of credibility, and we stand on our own based on our resume. And I honestly never had that problem. I really didn't. And more, it's sort of, fading away. People look at you for what you can bring to the table, your knowledge, your talent, your skill, and knock on wood, I did not ever. If anything, the advantage that some of you may have, being from Miami, is that you know 2 languages. And in a place like Connecticut, where I worked, I would go into these Puerto Rican neighborhoods to cover a crime story, and I could communicate with the people that only spoke Spanish. And I would beat the competition all the time because I had the information, because I got it in Spanish from these people, But as a female, I never I never felt that. And I've always been treated with respect and professionalism, and thankfully, no.
I had a question about going back to the production and being behind the camera in front of it. Do you know of any current reporters today who started off behind the camera, maybe as a producer or some other aspect behind the camera, that moved in front of the camera?
Well, a lot of, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a great example. Alex DePrado. I don't know if you've seen him. He's one of our newer reporters. He works sometimes days, sometimes nights. Remember him if you see him on TV. Alex DePrado. He's a reporter for us. He started at Channel 7 as a writer. We have a staff of writers that come in. Example, our morning show, what time does the morning show start? 5? 5 a.m. I don't even know. It's on from 5 to 10 now, right? Ugh. That show starts at 5 a.m. The writers come in to the newsroom and the producers like at 1 in the morning. Yeah. Talk about Night of the Living Dead. And they write all of the stories and the scripts that the anchors read. Alex started as a writer. Obviously, he had graduated from, I don't know where, but he had a broadcasting degree. But this is where I tell you that it's hard work. It's not graduate, ta-da, I'm on TV. As a writer in the mornings, which, I mean, just from what I've told you so far, just the schedule alone is hellish. Then move to afternoon writer, because then we have a whole other set of writers that come in like at 1 and write for the 4, 5, 5:36, 6:37. Wrote for that show, all those shows. Then became associate producer for one of those shows, which is, you know, you're writing, but you have a little more responsibility. And while he was at Channel 7, which this is just one example, but we've had quite a few people come through and do this, they take advantage of the fact that they have access to people like Tom Carper, who's been in this business for so long, who's great at what he does, who's helped so many people through the ranks. And a guy like Alex will say, hey, Tom, do you think tomorrow when I finish my shift, I can go with you and shoot some stand-ups and take the tape, you know, whatever story Tom worked on that day, Alex did a stand-up. Tom shot it for him, and then when he was finished, he gave him the tapes, and Alex put together a resume tape. He used Channel 7 to put together his own demo tape, doing it on his own time, taking advantage of, you know, the generosity of photogs like Tom and editors and everything else. And after he got that demo tape put together, he started sending it out to different TV stations across the country. And he landed a job in Fort Myers. No, that's not true. He landed a job in somewhere in the Northeast. I want to say it was like New England Cable or something like that in Rhode Island. Worked there a couple of years, year and a half, maybe 2 years. When he's there, puts together another tape. Went to Fort Myers. Next market up. Worked there a couple of years. Got better, honed his skills, knew my boss because Alice Jacobs was his boss when he was writing at 1 o'clock in the morning. An opening came up, sent Alice a tape. Alice knew his work ethic. He's a good worker. He works hard. Sent the tape. She liked it. Boom. And now he's on the night team. So there's, you know, and that's one example. We have lots of kids that work their way up through the ranks like that. I mean, Alex just ended up back at 7. But there's Carlos Suarez, Mike McCormick, Hatzel, lots of people. Lots. So it does happen that way. You?
Have you ever made a mistake in the news?
Are you kidding? Do you watch the news? Listen, I'm not a robot. I'm not human. I mean, I'm human. I'm not a robot. I'm not human. I'm Wonder Woman. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. But, you know, I might be having an off day. Sometimes I'll be talking about a house fire and the director upstairs punches up the video of the puppy rescue. What do? Keep reading, get the right video, and move on. Yeah, I mean, I make mistakes all the time. Not all the time, but you know.
What drove you to become a journalist? I mean, to reporter, sorry.
That's a good question. I genuinely always liked the news. I always was interested in it, even as a kid growing up, you know. Elementary school, middle school, junior high, high school. I always read the newspaper. I always liked it. I think I have a genuine inquisitiveness about me. You know, I like talking to people. I like asking questions. I like knowing. And again, I just sort of figured it out as I went along, and I was like, I think I want to do this. So I don't have one specific thing. I just kind of figured it out as I went along. And again, being in a place like Miami Dade helped me do that, because I was able to try different courses and classes till I figured out what I wanted to do. And then once I figured that I liked it, then I was like, oh, I am doing this. Absolutely. I mean, when I started sending tapes, I'd get rejection letters all the time, but I was like, heck no, I'm not giving up. And I didn't.
We're going to continue for a couple more minutes. If some of you guys have to go on to class, you can go ahead and move on, but we're going to continue if it's okay with Belkys.
Sure. You have a question? Oh, that's a good question. I think about it now, actually. That's a really good question. I'm fully bilingual, which is great. But, you know, talking to my mother in Spanish is not the same as Noticias 23, you know? So I've never thought about it because a lot of you might be able to relate to this. I think in English. So I've learned in this business to never say never. Because once I stopped doing news and I started doing entertainment, I started doing Deco Drive, I was like, oh, I am never doing the news again. No way, this is too much fun. Hell no. And now I'm doing the news again. So I've learned to never say never. But have I considered it? No. Would I consider it? Absolutely. But I'd have to work a little harder at it. Because I can read a newspaper in Spanish, sure, but it's not the same, you know? And in an ad-lib situation where you have to be like quick on your feet, since you think in English, that little extra step, I'm not sure. But absolutely, I'd consider anything in my career at this point. So if anyone has any job offers, please see Tom at the back there. He'll get 10%. Question?
In the current state that you're in now, what's your next goal?
That's a good question. Well, on a personal level, I have a few goals. Professionally, you know what? I'm good where I am. I'm very grateful. I don't, you know, at this point, I don't want to go to New York. I don't want to go to LA. I don't want to start again. I'm home. I live in Miami. You know, all the people I love are here. I'm good. And you made me all teary-eyed and stuff. I need a moment. Yeah, I'm fine where I am. But you know what? I don't rule anything out. If someone called me tomorrow and said, hey, but am I actively sending out tapes and want to go to CNN or Fox News? And no. I'm happy here with you guys. You have a question?
Yes, a lot of people in this industry say they want to have some skin.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, what are your...
Absolutely. I mean, I got 100 rejection letters when I first started. And it's very subjective. You know, I see it in my boss. You send a tape to one news director, they'll say, oh, you know what, your hair's too long. You'll send a tape to another news director, they'll say, oh, it's not long enough, we want longer hair. Oh, she's a brunette. Oh, do you think, you know, we want a blonde. It's so, you can only do what you can do it as best as you can do it, and hope that you find that right fit. for you. But know that you can't give up. Just keep at it. Keep at it. Keep at it. But you may just not be what they're looking for. And it's as simple as that.
How did you feel with being rejected or getting to
Therapy twice a week. You know what? At that age, you know, I was like I was getting ready to graduate college. I was getting ready to graduate FIU, and at that point, there's something inside of you, that fire burns so hot and bright, and that drive that's in there is something that, at least for me, there was nothing that was going to stop me. Nothing. Because there was this burning desire inside of me that was bigger and greater than anything else. Anything. And you know, now in hindsight, I think about it and I'm like, you know what? Everything happened as it should have. And always remember that. In general. Even something bad. Look, all those rejection letters. You know, maybe I wouldn't have ended up working in Miami, in my hometown. Maybe I would have been way across the country in Los Angeles, California, as the main anchor. Yeah, that's great, but my whole family's here, and I'm over there, and who knows how it could have worked out. But I don't have a definite answer what kept me. Something in here said, forget that. Do it again, do it better. And ask people, you know. You're going to meet people along the way, your professors, professional people. Ask for opinions. Ask them to look at your stuff. Ask how to make it better. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And one day you're going to be in a position also to help. So that's when you pay it forward. Because my first TV job, when I was at the cable station, we had a news consultant that came in, and he was a retired television news anchor from WTNH, Channel 8, where I ended up working. And the then news director used to be his intern when he was a news anchor. And he said to me, send Liz Gray a tape, tell her you're my friend, tell her I recommended you, and, you know, somebody helped him get his foot in the door. He helped me get my foot in the door, and sometimes that's what you need. But also remember that I think Oprah and maybe somebody else, maybe Oprah took it from somebody, I don't know. You know, luck equals opportunity plus preparedness. Because you can get every single opportunity in the world, you know. Oh, hey, no, you know what? Send your tape to my friend Tom Carper. He's hiring over at Channel 10. Your tape isn't ready. Your tape sucks. Your professor told you to do this and this and this to make it better. You didn't do it. You're not prepared. So you've got the opportunity, but you weren't prepared. There goes the luck.
I had a quick question on the production side. When it comes to editing, are your studios using more Final Cut or Acme?
I will defer to the man in the corner.
We, believe it or not, right now, we are we're editing non-linear tape to tape. And the reason is because it's so fast. We, in the next few months, are going to be going chip cameras and everything. And so what it'll basically end up being, I think we're going with a product called Idios. They use a lot of, some of the other stations use Final Cut. Channel 4 uses Final Cut. The problem is there's no standard anymore. There used to be. In fact, if you go to the networks, most of them are still using videotape like we are because they haven't decided on a new format. And so it's been after 3/4 inch, they went to 1/2 inch, which is this, and it was a standard for almost 20 years. And then after that, you Panasonic has this format, Sony has this format. None of them are compatible. And so it's that, like, if you go to channel 10, their system is different from 4, and their system is different from 6. All of them have something different. So it's mass confusion right now. But you have to realize that that is if you're an editor, you're an editor. And I don't care if it's writing something down on a tablet or editing on a laptop or whatever. It's a tool, and whatever that tool is, it's going to change. Believe me, there was nothing like this when I started. I literally started in film. And it's not like I got my degree and, oh, now that there's film, I can't work anymore. You adapt. You have to know that you have to learn every day. Every day is an opportunity to stay current with everything. If you don't stay current, then you're one of the guys that used to work in TV. Or not just TV, anything, whatever business you go in, everything is changing and changing. So, what I tell my kids go to Miami Dade, and I tell them college teaches you how to learn. And that's what it is, because you're going to have to keep learning, and after this next format comes and we conquer that, in a few years something else is going to come out, and so the formats almost don't even matter anymore, because they change like paper towels in the men's room,
Mass confusion. You have another question?
Are TV writers the people responsible for conducting the research needed for a report, or are reporters separately responsible for writing their stories, and what are the differences in between those two positions?
Okay, as a reporter, you come in to work, and they tell you, today, I don't know, what did you work with somebody today in the morning, or?
Story number 3. Most of it, if it's something planned that's been going on for a while, then you can either refer to other scripts and things that have been approved by higher ups, or you end up doing spot news, which is very, very prominent in the business right now. And you don't even know what you're shooting while you're shooting it. And you're trying to report on it, and the reporter stands up, and everybody has to have everything live all the time, and they're like, well, we can tell you.
Yeah, and everything's changing minute to minute.
Yeah, it changes constantly. So, that's one of the things. When you're a reporter, you have to know, especially at 7, live. Everything is live reports. They want that live presence. And they'll update you and update you and update you. But there's not like a research committee for every story that you do. This is, like I said, this is number 3 for me today. I was at a double shooting. I went to a manatee release. And
Were you with a reporter on any of those, or just you? Just you. But example, okay, double shooting. As a reporter, Tom and I would go together, and it's our responsibility. He shoots the video, he gets the pictures, I get the information. So in that circumstance, you're out there, there's no research. You're knocking on doors. Hey, did you hear anything? Do you know? Oh, yeah, no, that was Leroy, and, I never liked that guy, and, oops, okay, then, at some point or another, at a double shooting, a police officer will come out, a public information officer, give you some information. Okay, we have a 36-year-old, male victim on our hands. Cause of death, a gunshot wound, that's all we know. His name is Leroy Gonzalez, and that's all the information we have at this point. Well, the neighbors say that he was kind of sketchy, and they thought that he sold drugs. Well, no, we can't confirm that. Well, they said that they heard shouting and a fight right before the gunshot. We can't confirm that. So it's you're doing your research in the neighborhood with the people that are there and the police, and then you have to be very careful when you craft your story to tell the story, that you can't say, which you'll learn this in journalism class, attribution. You can't just say, oh yeah, and he was a drug dealer. Says who? Neighbors say.
That's when you let the guy you knock on his door, he says he's.
Yeah, exactly. Neighbors say they never liked the hours he kept. Neighbors say they saw a lot of people in and out of the house. Yeah, I never liked that guy. I thought he was a drug dealer because I saw like at 3 o'clock in the morning there'd be people there, at 8 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I think he sold drugs.
This is the reporter.
The neighbor said that, not me. Exactly. This is the reporter.
And what is the TV writer responsible
The
for?
TV writer comes in and writes, if you watch the newscast, any newscast at any time on any channel. You've got, good evening, I'm Belkys Nerey, I'm Craig Stevens. Our top story tonight, a 10-year-old is hailed a hero for saving his family from a house fire. Tom Carper has more. Boom. They go to the package, the story. That's a package. Then we have what are called VOs, video only, voiceover, which is a piece of video and the anchor reading over that piece of video. A family of 4 in southwest Miami-Dade left homeless tonight after fire tears through their 3-bedroom duplex at Southwest 33rd Street and 186th Avenue. Fire officials say it started in a back bedroom because of a lit candle. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and tonight the Red Cross is assisting the family. That piece of video, that script, one of the writers in the newsroom wrote it. Put it together, saw the note in the computer or got the information, and they write everything in the newscast that's not a package from a field reporter is written by a writer. If you watch Channel 7 News, we do a lot of things from what we call the SAT Center. A lot of the anchors do that. And that will be a package. An example today might be the president speaking at the United Nations. They'll take the information off the feeds that they get in from the satellite feeds from CNN and Fox and all that, and they will write that package for us and say, Belkys, I need you to track this for the 5:30 newscast, and then it's written by the writers.
Is that an entry-level position, writers?
Absolutely. Like I explained about Alex, he came in as a writer. Most of our writers start in the morning shift because it's from hell, and then they work their way up to, you know, being amongst the living, and that's how it starts. Did I answer your question? Okay, Monique? Oh, you guys. Go ahead.
Do you ever write your own stories, or would you like to?
I did. I always did. When I started, I had to. When I was out in the field, you know, you put together your story. You craft your story. When I was in London recently, every single story on the air was all me. I wrote everything. You know, when I travel, I write everything. But on a day-to-day, in the newsroom as the anchor, no. I fix scripts all the time because a writer will write a script and it won't be as well written as it should be or could be, so I'll tweak it and fix it. I fix scripts all the time, or I'll see some misinformation and I'll fix it. But write, not anymore. I try to do as little as possible. Rarely that much anymore.
You said you had that burning desire to just always go out even when you were rejected. Were you ever nervous, though, in front of the camera?
Absolutely. Well, no, now it's like I could do it with my eyes closed in a coma. But, I mean, my first day on the main anchor desk, after having been at Channel 7 as a reporter on Deco Drive, my first day on the anchor desk, I was nervous. Because it's like another thing. It's another way. It's another, you know. Now, no, absolutely. But yeah, I was nervous, sure, that first time, and you know, and you're stiff, and then you read like this, and when you first do a stand-up, it's very, police say the fire started in a back bedroom, and it quickly spread throughout the house, and at this point, they're still unclear on how it started. You know, when I did cable, I would write down my stand-up. I would write it, and just memorize it, and then, okay, I'm ready. 3, 2, 1. And read it. And I do it like 7 times so that the 7th one, finally, I seem a little comfortable. You know, but then it's like everything. Then down the road, you're like, okay, Tom, you ready? Let's do a stand-up. Okay, here we go. You ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Police say the fire started right back here at this window. They're not sure how it started exactly, but they suspect a lit candle may be to blame. Oh, stop. Don't clap. Throw money. But, you know, it's like everything. It's like everything that you do in life. The more you do it, the easier it gets, the more comfortable you are. Now, I mean, I could sit down literally and just I could do it in a coma. It's crazy. I already asked you. Can I ask somebody else? You. Yes.
Okay, now Sean Wolfson. Okay, what I'm trying to ask you is, how does it feel like to work with Craig Stevens, your co-anchor?
I love Craig. I love Craig. He's awesome. He's the best TV husband ever. Seriously. And it's like I said before, you know, he's a little more, I think we're a great team because we're like yin and yang, you know, black and white. It's like, you know, it's the balance. He's a little more serious, and I can be a little more playful. But when it's time for a playful story, I draw that out in him because he has a very playful side that a lot of people never see. But then when it's something very serious, like a State of the Union address, for example, he'll bring out the serious in me. So I think we're a great balance, you know, that yin and yang kind of thing. And again, I know he has my back, and he knows that I have his. So he's awesome. I love him.
Okay. How does being a news anchor affect your personal life?
It's all good. I mean, you get used to like going to the supermarket and people stare at you and they give you that look, you know. They're scared of me anyway. They run the other way. It's the only thing, the one bad thing is the schedule, you know. Everybody gets out of work at 6, and if they want to go to a movie on a Wednesday night at 9:15, they can. But I can't do that because I'm on the air at 10 o'clock. But, you know, I make it work for me. When I go on my dinner break, I might meet friends for dinner, or if there's an event going on, I'll dip into the event and say hi and take some pictures and whatever, and then go back to work. So really, if there was one thing I would change, it would be like my schedule, the hours. But then I get to sleep in the morning, so that's not so bad. But it you know, it's good. It's fine. I'm not Madonna. I can walk through Miami Dade without having people, you know. Life and Style and Us Weekly isn't outside the front door, so it's not that big a deal, really. It's not.
Hi, sorry, I'm a little sick.
Oh, that's okay.
I wanted to ask if you thought internships made it a lot simpler for you to be able to work in a place where you wanted to, for example, you wanted to work here. Internships like make that process a lot easier.
Internships are great. I actually interned at Channel 7 when I was at FIU. I wasn't here. With the then investigative guy, John Steinberg. I mean, it's grunt work. That's what it was. But again, you can make it work for you because I worked with a photographer every day and I shot some stand-ups, you know? And then John looked at my stand-up and said, this is what you should do, say it this way, try it again. So your internship is what you make of it. You know, if you go every day, sit at the desk and clear his, you know, his voicemail and go home, what's that going to get you? Nothing. But you're in a newsroom. Be active, be proactive, talk to him, talk to people, ask questions. You know what? And that's a great thing about Channel 7, at least. We're all really open and cool with helping kids because, you know what? We were all you guys many, many years ago. So we get you, you know? We get where you are and we get what you're feeling, and we've all been there, so we can help you. But an internship is great. Again, you have to make it work for you. You know, a writing job at Channel 7 is great for the writers like Alex who make it work for them, you know? But you look like a hustler, so you'll make it work for you. I know. You will.
The worst thing you can do on an internship is go in and sit and wait for somebody to ask you to go out.
Because there's always something to do.
I see more students show up and they're shy and they're like, gee, you know, I don't want to bother anybody or whatever. But you have to be fair to yourself. You got the opportunity to, the fact that you even got in the door and got there, you have to run with it. So when you're sitting there in the desk and you see me walk by, you need to get up and introduce yourself and say, hey, can I shoot some stand-up sometime with you or whatever? Because that, at a TV station, that's where the rubber meets the road. And so all the stuff in the classroom will prep you for that, but once you get in there, you have to make the most of it. And I've seen interns who've waited their whole internship, and then the last week they want to go out and do a bunch of stand-ups, and that's exactly the wrong way to go about it. For a couple of simple reasons. First off, you're under the gun, so you made it tougher on yourself than it needed to be. And secondly, you brought one pair of clothes, so all your stand-ups you're wearing the same thing. You know, you're going to want bring a blazer, bring a different shirt, bring whatever.
And your first stand-up, no matter what, is gonna suck. It's gonna suck.
I don't care if you hate the story, do it, and it'll just get you in front of one of these, which is terrifying at first, but it's going to be your job. So you have to make friends with this, and so the more you do it, the better. And so you have to ask, and there'll be people that'll come forward. Belkys will come forward. I will come forward. There's a lot of people in the business that really do want to pay forward and help people out, because it's really easy to look back and remember where you came from when you were on the outside going, oh, if I could just, get in. So make the most of it. If you show up, make friends, start talking with people.
And by the way, since you might ask me, an internship at Channel 7 has to be for college credit only. So if you're just thinking about doing it because you want to work for free and stuff, they don't, not we, but it's station policy. It's got to be for college credit only. And if you're there or when you get there, WSVN.com, and then all the information is right on the website. You have another question? Oh, that's a good question. Who decides which stories go on the air? Our news director, and pretty much, yeah. Our news director, some of the executive producers, they get together and they decide what stories are going to get covered. And then, okay, we're going to put the president at the United Nations today at 6 o'clock as a package and a live shot from New York. And at 5 o'clock, we're going to do it as a VOSOT, video and a soundbite from the president. And, they break it down. The news director and the executive producers of the show.
They also decide which stories are important.
Absolutely. And it's which story is more important. And as you get lower in the newscast, it's also sort of like a flow and placement. We have a story about, what did you cover, a manatee release? If we have a manatee release story and then a story about that penguin that got released back out into Antarctica, 2 weeks ago, they might pair those two stories up together because it's got a flow, So the executive producers put that part of it together.
Hi, I'm really sorry to cut you guys off because some kids have to go back to high school, right? Okay, my name is Quincy O'Brien. I'm a major here for TV production, or I'm majoring in TV production, sorry. And I'd like to say how proud we are that you're an alumna and that you came today to talk to us for the Manolo Barco's Journalism Speaker Series. So we'd like to give you a token. And again, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thanks a bunch.
Of course.
Thank you guys for listening, and I wish I got a manicure. Here, let me put this down.
Okay.
This is horrible. Thank you guys for listening. You had great questions. And remember, if you just want to be on TV, try out for a reality show. Thanks a bunch.